Hello, everybody. Welcome to Devotions with Stony. In today's devotion, we'll be reading from the book of Psalms, chapter 91, and we're going to be reading verse 1 and verse 2. Verse 1: He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, note that, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Well, today's devotion is titled, The Lord is my refuge. The Lord is my refuge. What's the meaning of the word refuge? What does a place mean when you use the word refuge? What is it referring to? Well, I want to give you a short backdrop of this psalm. In Jewish law, if you go to Leviticus and the book of Numbers and Deuteronomy, there was a principle about a city of refuge. There was a place called a city of refuge, and what would happen is if you committed certain sins, and they were on the lookout for you to punish you, if you ran to the city of refuge and you got through the gates of the city of refuge, no one was allowed to get through those gates into the city of refuge to take you away for you to be punished for your crime, even though you had sinned. And so basically, this concept became very ingrained in the hearts of the Israelites, is that there is a certain city that God had specifically commanded that be set up around different areas around Israel, that if anyone ran in to the boundaries, through the gates, of that city, the devourer or the person who was trying to take them, to the judge or to the high priest for them to be condemned and judged, had no more legitimacy in trying to get in because they were able to get into the city of refuge. Now, that principle and that concept in the Old Testament was basically a foreshadowing of the Christ to come, of Jesus to come. Jesus, who was going to be our refuge. Now, it's with that understanding that David wrote this psalm, saying, I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge, a refuge and a fortress. Now, this is a place where you run to when you need help. This is where you place you run to when you need protection from all the things around in the world, all the predators that are seeking to destroy your soul, that are seeking to harm you, that are seeking to judge you, that are seeking to condemn you. And David says, You, Lord, are my refuge, and you, Lord, are my fortress. You are the place I run to hide from the terrors of this world. You are the place I run to hide from the judgment and the sentencing and the accusation and the accusations of this world. You are the place I run to so that you can wrap your arms around me and I'll feel safe and I'll feel protected. My friends, in a world that's increasingly becoming more hostile to believers, more hostile to Christians, in a world that's been hostile to anybody really, we have a resting place. We have a refuge, but not just a refuge. We have a fortress. A fortress is a place that's been heavenly fortified to protect from enemy invasion, from external invasion. And God being your fortress and your refuge means that you've got a fortified place, a fortified city with walls that cannot be breached, with walls that cannot be broken down. And so, despite the enemy lunging everything at you, they are technically lunging everything at God. And because nothing can get through God, nothing can get to you. I'm going to say that one more time. Because nothing can get to God, nothing can get to you. Because you've surrounded yourself with the presence of the Lord. My friends, look to God as your refuge and as your fortress. The place you run to when you need grace, the place you run to when you need help, the place you run to when you need protection, the place you run to when you need salvation. God has to be your refuge and He has to be your fortress. Remind yourself of that fact today, that the Lord, Your Redeemer is your refuge and is your fortress. And you can abide under the shadow of the Almighty God, where protection is guaranteed and assured. Thank you for listening to today's devotion with us. Join us tomorrow for another devotion. Thank you, and God bless you. Bye bye for now.